This is Dane.
And this is JR.
And we are
the Cult Lords.
So, Dane.
Yes.
You are looking a lot like Chuck Norris in The Way of the Dragon.
Whoa.
Do you remember that scene in the Coliseum?
Yes. I got my butt kicked.
Well, you started off pretty well. Remember, Chuck Norris's name was Colt in the
Colt.
movie.
Of course it was.
Yes. But what's funny is, like, you know, they're limbering up, and Bruce Lee is like cracking his back, and they're getting ready. Chuck Norris is doing like calisthenics from the like 70s and stuff, and then a cat goes meow, and as soon as that cat does it, they're like going at it, and then Chuck Norris flips over Bruce Lee, and then Bruce Lee pulls out a big wad of hair off his chest. So I'm wondering if we got the Chuck Norris hairy chest going.
I should have brought some extra hair. Then you could have went whoa,
and then Bruce Lee goes whoa, and then he goes.
And then Chuck Norris is like, Kelly Clarkson!
Yes. All right. Well, today we are going to review the movie Crazy Samurai. 400 versus 1.
Crazy Samurai versus 1.
Yes. Oh.
Bring it out.
Woo.
Crazy Samurai versus 1.
Yeah.
Oh. So,
when we go into this review, I just want to let everybody right now know that this is a pure spoiler review. So if you haven't seen this movie yet and you want to see it and not know what happens, probably best to save this, go see the movie, come back and watch the review and see what you think.
Let us know what you think.
What you think and how our review is. We would love to do that. Also, Dane, what can our viewers do for us?
Well, we would love you to get your renegade troop of Ronins together. Run over to the nearest castle that's looking for some samurai to help them out, and press the subscribe button below, the big red button.
Yes.
Get your troop together, have them all do some calisthenics, and then push that button.
Push the button, subscribe, make sure you like the video, and then we want to hear your comments as well, especially if you've seen this movie.
Slowly climbing through the ranks.
So what are we drinking today?
All right, well, today, in honor of this samurai Japanese movie, we've got Yamato Japanese Whiskey Mizunara Takeda Shingen edition, and it comes with this gorgeous, I gotta say, this is probably the most beautiful bottle I've ever seen in whiskey before. Hold that side.
Pretty cool.
It's a total samurai Japanese motif. If I can just get it out. Get out.
There you go.
It's out.
All right.
And you can look at the beauty of this baby. Even the helmet. I mean, it's all like comes apart.
And this is not plastic.
Yeah, this is metal.
This is metal. Yeah.
So the whole thing comes apart and sits on top, and you get to display this proudly on your bar somewhere. But I mean, it is an amazing bottle. And the interesting thing about Japanese whiskeys a lot, they like theirs to be much more on the smoother side.
Oh,
so
very smooth. I love Japanese
this is
whiskey.
a 40 ABV. And also, for anyone who's a celiac, by the way.
A celiac?
That's a gluten-free person. This is gluten-free. Oh, okay. So any of you who definitely have some dietary restrictions and have been missing your whiskeys, this is the one for you. So this was another Costco special, by the way.
How much does it run at Costco?
It's like $119, I think it was. But
$119.
You go in.
I think you're paying for presentation a little bit here.
Yeah, I mean, definitely are.
I mean, after you're done with this bottle, you're not throwing this out.
No.
You're going to display this. So.
Right. Can you imagine how impressive this would be if you had like 20 of these?
Oh my gosh.
Lined up on your bar.
Yes.
But yeah, it's you were definitely paying for presentation,
taste it.
but
Come on.
some of them are $200. Yeah, it's definitely on the lighter side, especially with some ice.
Yes.
No burn. I mean, it's.
No, that's very smooth. Well, I tell you what.
Some vanilla in there, but light and soft.
Okay. Well, as you may know, as you've seen some of our most recent reviews, we've kind of changed our format, and we're trying to do them quicker. So today we're doing a lightning review. Gonna try to make this as fast as we can, but still talking about the movie. So
you're gonna talk faster too? All right, what are we doing?
So normally we talk about the movie, then we reveal our Cult Lords ratings. But lately we've been doing it in reverse. We've been showing you what we rate this movie, letting you know if we like it or not, and then we work our way back like Memento of how we got to that rating. So before we do our Cult Lords rating, Dane, I like to give out the Rotten Tomato scores because I like to just kind of get a baseline of what other people think of this movie. So on the Rotten Tomato scores, the critics give this movie a 37%.
37. Woo. These guys definitely need to do a little bit of
seppuku.
Harry Carey. This is total dishonor of this movie. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
37. That's the lowest I've ever heard.
So the audience, though, gives it a 42%.
Wow.
Still not that great. Now, the curious thing is, what do the Cult Lords think about this movie? What do we rate this movie?
We like our action movies. We appreciate fine filmmaking and screenwriting and all that kind of stuff, you know?
And I'm a big martial arts fan, loving both the Chinese and the Japanese martial arts movie. And there's a big difference in those two, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But
what are our ratings?
Let's see what the Cult Lords ratings are. So Dane, get ready. I think you are about ready to commit seppuku there. Okay.
I will feel dishonor if my score is not accepted by you.
Oh, okay. All right. So on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3.
Oh yeah! What'd you do? JR versus 1 million, 7.5. I got 6.3. On the low side.
Well, it is on the low side. And I'll tell you why I ended up liking this, because initially the score would have been much lower. If after the first viewing of this, you asked me the score, it would have been low 6s, maybe high 5s. But then I had like a week or so to think about it. And I actually, it's really weird. After I digested it, I came back and said, you know what, that's maybe too low. And I'll tell you why I gave a 7.5. So let's talk about Crazy Samurai. Now, I mentioned to you, this is a Japanese martial arts movie. A lot of the martial arts movies that we typically watch come from China, Hong Kong.
Right.
And, there's a whole subgenre that a lot of people love called wire fu. Are you familiar with wire fu? No. So like in the Chinese, martial arts movies, they do a lot of wire work where like they do the flips, they're jumping up on the building, things that seem unnatural. But yet make
almost
an awesome, magical kind of martial arts thing. Japanese martial arts would never do that. So Japanese martial arts movies are more pure. They really don't go for those bells and whistles. They like more realism and grit in their martial arts movies. And that's what Crazy Samurai is. So no wire fu, no flipping, jumping up on buildings or anything like that. It's going to be straight on, what you would expect in a true fight.
Right.
So this movie, Dane, opens up with a little boy looking at a butterfly flying around. And
he's obviously important.
He's transfixed on it, right? And it shows him like in this little kind of village outpost or whatever. And there's an old man there with him, but there's a couple of other armed samurais, if you will.
Right.
And the young samurai asks the little boy, "Are you nervous about your duel?" And so you're kind of wondering about his duel. And what you come to find out is, in this clan, And you don't know how many people are in the clan, but there's basically 3 leaders. 2 of them have just been assassinated. And the word has been spreading across the countryside that these 2 leaders have been assassinated. The 3rd leader is this young boy who's never really, grown up into the leader. Yes.
Pretty much, yeah.
So they're going to anoint him as the sole leader of the clan. But to protect him, they've sent out word to a sensei who comes in, this old sensei, and they said, did you provide us with enough men to protect him? And he says, I've brought 100 students of mine.
Right.
And 300 mercenaries. So you got 300 and 100, you got 400 people there.
Right.
Surrounding him, and they're hidden in the woods, all waiting, surrounding him. Now, Dane, why don't you tell the viewers, who is the person that just assassinated the other 2 leaders of this clan?
The crazy samurai?
Yes.
How do you pronounce his name?
Musashi.
Musashi.
Crazy samurai Musashi.
And as the boy's looking up at the butterfly.
Oh, wait. So
they're talking about him?
Yeah, so they're talking about him, and you can hear people, in the woods, like, saying, "Oh, have you ever seen this guy? What does he look like?" You know what I mean?
I've seen him once.
Like he's a legendary guy. You know what I mean? But they call him Crazy Musashi, right? And the interesting thing is, in America, they named the movie Crazy Samurai 400 versus 1, but in Japan, the movie is simply called Crazy Samurai Musashi.
Musashi.
So.
Miyamoto Musashi の命日となろう。清十郎殿、そして伝七郎殿の仇を討ち、我が吉岡一門の面目を。
Probably because, and is this supposed to be? I didn't research this to that level. Is this a real guy from the past?
I don't think it is. Okay. I think this is. I'm not an expert. I didn't research it. So if this is based off of a true story, please tell us, because we'd be very interested. But I don't think it is based on a true story. There is a writer to this movie, but I think it is fiction. But but yes. Now to your point, Dane.
So the little boy's looking up at the butterfly, and they're like, "Come on, you got to pay attention." And as he looks up, he sees the top of the trees. They're in the woods, and all of a sudden, the butterfly transforms into. The samurai falls out of the tree and goes down with it and goes, ah!
Yeah, coming out of focus. You see something, because the camera's focused on the butterfly, but you see something out of focus coming down, and then suddenly it's the samurai, and boom, he chops the kid.
Right. I would have been more impressed, by the way, if they had actually shown the kid get chopped.
Yes.
I mean,
they just show him on the
held
ground
off there. I know.
Right.
They showed him, and it's just like, yeah. So then he proceeds to kill everybody.
Well, he then proceeds to kill the old man, and like the young samurai that was there had walked off with the old sensei who had just brought, but he hears a commotion going in the back, so he goes running back, and suddenly all of these mercenaries and other hired samurais and students, they come out of the woodwork. What happens then, Dane?
So there's like 40 of them surrounded, and they did a really good job of not having. A lot of times you see typically in movies where it's like for some reason there's 40 guys and only one guy runs in and they're all like holding back. Well, they did a good job of like maybe 3 would run in and then people would surround him again and then like force him to put his back up against a tree. And they were constantly like kind of just, almost like flies on the tail of a horse, like coming in and trying to get him, and then he would go, hoo-yah! And then hit him like either in the head. Yeah. He would take him out with these very, very quick little moves, or he'd fake him out.
I know.
He would do like, he would go over here at one guy, and all of a sudden, instead of going there, he would go, and then chop the other guy in the foot or something like that. Yeah, and he was lightning quick.
And he had like 3 basic kill moves in this, it seemed like. One was he would slash their leg and they would go down and he would like impale them. The other one, he would just pop them right on the top of the head.
Yeah.
Like on top of the skull, and you would see blood kind of splatter, and then they would go down dead.
Yep.
And then the other one was he would grab them and pull them to them and then slash their throat. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you know.
He had that other move too, where he would pull a guy in and then he'd take his sword off.
Yeah.
And then he would kill him, and then he'd have two swords.
Yeah.
And then he would all of a sudden realize, I don't like this second sword, so he'd throw it at somebody and then take him out.
Yeah.
And then he would go after somebody else. I mean, he had his set moves.
So the interesting thing is, goes for a while. He takes down this wave of 40 of samurais, but you know that they just mentioned there's 400, right? Mm-hmm. So you kind of think like maybe he's done and the other samurais are somewhere else.
Right.
He starts to walk out to the edge of the woods like he's going to walk out. Boom! Another 40
Another
show
group
up.
are like, there he is!
There he is! You know what I mean? So we now go through, and he's tired.
He's definitely
right?
getting tired.
So he goes through, he kills this round of 40, which takes a while. And so at this point, Dane, and I want to ask you this because we really haven't talked about this, right? Mm-hmm. This is now about 20 minutes into the movie. This one fight scene, and I'm like, man, this is like one of the longest fight scenes I've ever seen, right?
Right, yeah.
So, I mean, it was like almost like watching the opening 20 minutes of Saving Private Ryan. You're like, oh my God, when is this gonna end, right? The carnage,
It just keeps going.
It just
you all of a
keeps
sudden
going.
realize, like, I don't think they've ever taken a cut on the camera. What's going on here?
Right.
And then it's like another group come in.
Well, so after that group of 40 goes down, he now walks into like an abandoned village. And what I thought was funny was he walks into this one empty room and he knows exactly where to go into the corner. He has like another sword waiting for him.
And some water.
And some water in like a bamboo jug.
Thing.
And he's like drinking his water and he's tired.
Blah, blah, blah.
Right?
He like spits it out in his hand.
Yeah,
and on
spitting
his
it on his sword.
On the sword, and was like, well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's like a thing.
I know, right?
I mean, but maybe he's trying to clean it up or
I don't
pull
know.
his hands off. I don't know. Man,
So after he takes his
let
little...
us know, people, if that's a strict fighting style type move.
After he takes his little water break, he goes back out into the village and he's kind of going down back alleys wondering where everybody is. Then suddenly you hear another voice in the distance, Musashi! And it's like another kind of samurai lord with another 40 guys.
With
right?
his entourage.
His entourage.
On the bridge.
So they're there to fight him.
I am here. I am the master of this or that.
Yeah,
or,
yes.
So.
And like, I'm here to slay you, Musashi. So they get into the fight, right?
And you think it's going to be a little bit more legendary.
Right.
Just like,
he disposes of that guy quick, right?
I mean, they're like, doing this like really slow, whatever. And then the guy's like, ah! And he's like, bam, bam.
Yeah.
And then the guy's like,
oh. And he's dead, you know what I mean? Like, if this guy's the samurai leader, then it's kind of his entourage. You think he's going to outlast these guys. He's the first one down.
Right.
He's dead.
And then the other ones are like,
But
let's go!
Let's go! Let's avenge our master. And so so one by one, they get slaughtered. And so now you think, okay, this is it, right? And he kind of walks through the village and
he has another little plant of sword and water.
Yeah, another little hidden cache of water. I was thinking like they should have done a sponsorship with like Dasani water and like everywhere he went there's like a Dasani.
And the sun like comes through over the horizon.
Yeah,
like
because he literally after every fight goes and grabs a water that he's hidden somewhere.
Right.
And I was laughing at this, but you know what? After he takes down that samurai master, he walks a little bit further. Mm-hmm. He sees the only woman in the entire movie.
In one of the rooms where his water is.
Where his water is. And he's like, oh, please, don't say anything. She's like, oh, no problem. She walks out.
Lets her out. And then she runs out and she's like, he's
out there! He's in there! So the next... So the next 40, group of samurai go and they surround him. And then at this point, Dane, I think, holy crap, this whole movie is just going to be one big fight scene.
It is.
Because we're now about 45 minutes into the movie.
Right.
And it's just been nonstop fighting.
You get very aware, like, is there a cut? Is there going to be a cut? Like, are they going to trick us and have us walk behind something and all of a sudden it's really a cut, like sometimes they do with the camera tricks? But no, I mean, it looks like it's just it. It just keeps going.
This movie is 90 minutes long, but this one fight scene, and they brag about it on here.
Isn't it like...
It's the world's first 77-minute, one-take action film sequence. 77 minutes of straight fighting. And it's the same kind of kills over and over again.
Right. And the
tap
same
on
actor.
the head.
Right.
Yeah, they bring in like different people.
So you become aware that, the reason this guy's taking these breaks in the movie is because he really needs the breaks as an actor.
He really needs the break. I mean, 77 minutes of straight fighting.
Can you imagine doing anything for 77 minutes, by the way, with never taking a break on film?
Yeah, no cuts.
We've done that a couple of times with some of our reviews, by the way.
Yes.
But I mean, he's wielding a sword the whole time. They're doing all this, and it looks like real swords. I mean, that's the other thing that amazed me is like, they're really like swinging these things nonstop.
Think about...
It's like, bam,
Think
bam,
about what
bam,
it would take.
Bam, bam.
Think about what it would take to choreograph 77 straight minutes of a fight.
Right.
So you got to know
dangerous weapons.
You got to know when everybody's coming in, when he's going to kill him. You got to know when he walks to the kind of the next area. The next group comes in. Who's going to go first, right? And fight. That took weeks, months.
Yeah, I mean, they probably had to take like 26 practice
rounds
with like wooden stakes.
Yeah.
To go through. The thing is, and never mind the fact it's a moving camera.
Yes.
There's a guy mixed in as the cameraman in the entire time, coming in close, moving out again, ring, going around. Then occasionally he'd also get really close to him, and then the guy, obviously the actor is like, okay, the camera's here. So then he'd be like, like he would really look like worn out. When the camera would go back again, and somebody would come in and go, "Ah, yeah!" And then he would be like, "Who?" It was amazing that they could do that.
So then, he takes care of that 40, and then like the final kind of 40 comes in, and I mean, you've now just witnessed a 77-minute one-take action. The last 40 comes in, and it just kind of goes to darkness, and you're like wondering, oh, did they finally get him? Did he kill them? And then when it comes back up, there's an act card that says 7 years later, right?
Right.
And it shows Musashi kind of like meditating, and he's on a little sandbar in the middle of a river. So you quickly realize, oh, he took care of all those guys, you know what I mean, and killed all those guys. But
he definitely looks like he's
aged.
He's aged, but also that he's not like, he's just a wandering Ronin. He's not like doing anything. Because
his hair in the original scene is pulled back into his ponytail. I think at the end now his hair is just flowing long.
Yeah, and he's quite messy. It looks like he's almost like
been on the run.
Like he's almost like homeless. Like he's been on the run. He's not.
So he's just meditating there, and then suddenly, which I love it. Just out of the blue, you hear Musashi. You know what I mean? There's another.
It's this guy right here, by the way, isn't it?
Yeah.
This guy in the end, you can kind of see him if I get really close. He comes in, Musashi, from across the riverbed.
Yeah, and he says, I'm here to kill you because you have killed or basically slaughtered the last 2 towns. Right?
Well, but that guy was from the beginning.
Yeah.
He was like, I forget why he never fought him. Did he knock him out?
I don't know.
But yeah, he was like, wanted revenge.
Right.
And he brought 40 guys with him.
Well, and the thing is, you just hear Musashi has gone and killed, just slaughtered the last 2 villages 5 years later. He's still killing people. He's killing people for 5 years. And so now, the samurai's there to kill him, and Musashi stands up and looks at him and goes, listen, you little boy, basically, you young boy, it doesn't even respect him as a samurai.
Right.
He says, you know nothing about war. You know nothing about killing. And then he goes, I'm here to kill you. And then all of his guys go rushing by him.
Yeah, I thought that was a little weird.
Yeah, like, he just stands there. His guys go rushing by
I'm
him.
here to kill you. And I'm going to watch everyone else run by.
Yeah, everybody rushes by him to go kill, the crazy samurai.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, 1 by 1, 2 by 2, 3 by 3, he's putting them down. He's killing them. And then he just looks over at the samurai, and I think that's the end of the movie, right? Like, he doesn't show those two engaging at the end.
No, I thought he grab him and then he chops his neck off.
Yes, yeah, he does. And that's the end of the movie. Right. He does kill him.
There was a lot of like, well, this is not too, but it was like he grabbed him and he's like, huh! And then that was it.
And that
closed off the chapter of that clan.
So when I finished this movie, I was exhausted.
Did you need a little towel?
I needed a towel. Because you can't help but be engaged in a fight scene, even though the kills were almost like, kill, rinse, repeat. Kill, rinse, repeat. I mean, it's almost like the same thing kind of over and over, right? There was no unique deaths, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I agree with you on that. I mean, I thought what this movie did a really good job on is it gave you really a strong view and insight into what an actual samurai fight would look like.
Right.
I mean, it would be that kind of thing. It would be, no one would rush. Everyone would kind of like come in and then take their time to kind of figure you out a little bit, and then it's all super fast strikes.
Yeah.
And this guy figured out how to get.
You know what? If it was at me at the time, I would have grabbed the bow and arrow, and while he's engaged with other people, I would have been.
Well, but that is true. I mean, why are people throwing things at him or throwing their sword? Like, if they all ran in there with 20 swords and all just threw them at him, that would have been it. But there must be an honor thing.
There must be an honor code that you can't do that. Right. But you know what? If I just watch 200 men go down and then another 100 men go down, I'm not going to say, let me go in and do what they just did.
Right.
I'm going
to be like, well, let me get this piece of planking over here.
Yeah.
Like, throw the plank at him and then rush him.
Yeah, I would be.
So you obviously, there's got to be a rule. You can't do that. It must be considered like completely dishonorable not to fight straight on.
Yeah. I would have waited until I was the 400th guy left, then I would have played dirty and then told everybody, hey man, I did an honorable fight with Musashi and I killed him. Here's his head.
I know, here's his head, but that is true. After he killed everybody. And the funny thing, at one point, after he's like got his water break and everything, he's like, I thought there were only 70 of these guys. Where are these guys coming from? Yeah. Because he didn't know there were 400. Yeah. So there was kind of a comedic moment there, almost, So
like I said, if you would have asked me right after I finished this movie, what my score would have been, it probably would have been like a 5.8, because I would have said, man, that was kind of boring. You know what I mean? It was just 77 straight minutes. Right. So then I had time to think. I went to bed on it. I thought about it in bed.
Dreams.
I got up the next morning. I thought about it. I thought about it for a couple days. And then I said to myself, you know what? What we just saw in this movie is something we've never seen in a movie before. Mm-hmm. And because of that, and I thought about all of the artistry and the choreography it takes to make this, I started appreciating what I just saw. Now, I don't want other movies to do this. I don't want to see this become a formula, because you'll quickly turn me off. But
I mean, there's no way to generate any kind of character development.
There's no character development.
There's no beats in the plot line. Right. I mean, it was just straight on fighting for 77 minutes.
Yes. And it was a glorious 77 minutes. And I'm telling you, I am happy I watched this. I have this huge frame of reference now to this movie that I can always remember. And so the score did go up to a 7.5 because I do think there was a lot of artistry in this movie. I don't know if I'll ever watch it again. Maybe I will. But I don't want to see this formula used again in other movies. But it is a masterpiece. Yeah. It is a masterpiece.
I mean, one could say Spielberg obviously used the same technique, but he was smart enough not to say, I'm not going to do 45 to an hour of that first battle.
Well, first of all, Spielberg did a 20-minute opening sequence.
Spielberg, by the way.
Yeah, he did a 20-minute sequence to that opening battle, but it wasn't a one take. There's lots of cuts.
That's true.
And
Spielberg, you cheated.
There was a lot of more interesting things going on,
Right.
and it was only 20 minutes. This was 77.
Yeah. Well,
So-
so I don't know if you started paying attention to all the faces that were attacking him, because you notice that every time somebody got killed, somebody in the background would also drag them off camera, and then all of a sudden later they'd show up again. So they obviously had a troupe. It's the only way they could do this.
They probably
had a troupe.
They probably had 100 actors that had to represent 400.
Right.
Right.
And then they quickly get off camera, throw another outfit on them, and then they'd come in again. And there must have been some kind of like cues that they could do to the guy that was the main samurai guy, because for them, like, okay, I'm going to come in like this. And so then the guy off camera, you don't see that, but he must know, okay, they're going to do this, so I'm going to move this move. They must have had so much coordination.
They probably rehearsed this
right.
off and on.
A huge amount of time.
100 times. But it was a good movie. I don't think this is for everybody. I really don't. But if you enjoy martial arts movies and you want to see something you've never seen before, I recommend watching this movie.
Right.
So,
yeah.
But tell us what you think, Cult Lords fans.
We want to know.
Yes.
貴様一体俺の名は
If you have seen this movie, tell us what you thought. Did you, I mean, I literally thought about turning it off at one point. And I was like, no, where I'm doing this for a
I was
review.
eating actually sushi at the time, by the way.
Really?
I'm not watching the Japanese, I'm doing some sushi. Little sake and everything. 20 minutes in, I'm like, is this going to be one giant fight scene the entire movie? Because I'm getting very close to the button here very soon. But then you're kind of like all of a sudden like, okay, I understand. I appreciate what they're doing. I will definitely watch it.
After I watched this, I was so desperately wanting to call you and say, have you seen it yet? Because we give each other the assignment to watch it during the week. And I was like, I wanted to call you. And I was like, no, we don't talk about this until,
It's painful holding back.
Sometimes it is painful holding back.
Because you're like, what?
Yeah.
77 minutes of a non-stop fighting.
Yeah. Well, so let us know what you think. Can't wait to read your comments. Make sure to subscribe, like, and I guess we'll see you on the next review.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Have a great week.
See you then.